This video was made possible by these Patreon supporters. Hello, I'm JumpSplat120 and this is a mod spotlight on the mod Replay mod. Now, have you ever thought to yourself, oh man, that editor in GTA where you can like move your character around and then you can go and you can record it afterwards with camera angles and all sorts of crazy shit? I really wish that was a mod in Minecraft. Well, now it is. So essentially, you have the ability to record the movements of everything and everyone in Minecraft while you're playing, with virtually no impact on gameplay speed at all. Go back later and then, move a flying camera around, make some crazy cool angles, and just make it look absolutely cinematic. It is awesome. It also has some really cool things. For example, check out the floating J above my head. Isn't that cool? Lastly, you can do some cool things like slow motion. And you can do some cool things like fast motion. Hey, there we go. So now I'm going to have you come inside me and I will show you what it looks like from a first-person perspective. Alright, so this is inside, I guess, first-person perspective. When you start up the game, you're going to get a small little thing up at the top left corner that says recording. And it records both single and multiplayer worlds. So you can record this on the Hive if you wanted to, or your favorite minigame server. You can also do this in any single play server. It is a client-side mod, not a server-side mod, so you don't have to worry about that. And you just go and do whatever it is that you wanted to do. So you run around, you play, you break things, you kill things, you do whatever you want. Okay. When you are done, you are going to save and quit, and it will say, please wait while your most recent replay is being saved. It pops up very quickly, and then you can go into your replay viewer. Okay. So there are all of the previous replays that you viewed. Okay, it shows you just time, date stamps. So this is a multiplayer server. It's 42 minutes of me playing on the Hypixel server, and then this is the one that I just recorded. So we'll load this up, and here is our world, and that's me. And we can fly a camera around. We can do all sorts of crazy shit. Now, first thing I'm going to show you is the tiny little red dot at that top bar. That tiny little red dot is when I pressed M during gameplay. So M puts a marker in while you are playing, okay? So if I mouse over this, it just says unnamed marker. But if I wait until, if I just drag it over to, if I just drag it over to here, just a little bit more, we'll just play it. There we go. That is where we started, okay? So that's where I pressed M, that's where I said I wanted to start. So you can press M to mark pretty much anything. You can say, oh, I want to, if you do something cool, you can put a marker there. You want to do something else that's cool, put a marker there, okay? So the top bar is the entire clip, okay? So this goes from 0 seconds to 3 minutes, 54 seconds. That's the length of the entire replay, okay? So if I did that Hypixel one, it would be 0 all the way to 42 minutes. Okay, down here is the timeline in which you are actually editing, okay? So it goes from 0 to 30, and I think maybe you can go past 30 minutes if you want. I'm not sure. I've never had a replay, I've never needed to have a replay go for 30 minutes straight. But what you can do is you can do a lot of shit, like a whole ton of things, okay? So first, I'm going to slow down the camera because for moving around the world, it's great, but for getting precise movements, it's like I'm trying to get right between the tree and I move around a lot. So I can scroll down and then I can really move slowly. So we'll slowly position it right where we want it, which is like right about here, I think. And so what we can actually do is we can play the video. We'll wait till my little character jumps up onto here and then figure out where exactly he's looking. So we can be right in his sight. Right there, I think is perfect. And then we will actually just rewind it. There we go. Play it a little bit. And then here is where we want to start. So what you want to do is add both a position keyframe and a time keyframe. Position keyframes are the position that your camera is at right this second, okay? So I could do a position keyframe here. So say like at the end I wanted to, I know it was going to be maybe 30 seconds long, or I'm going to guess it's 30 seconds long, and I put a keyframe here. So I want it to both start and end in the exact same spot, okay? And it can do whatever I want between that. And maybe I find out later that, oh, it's actually going to be a lot longer than 30 seconds. I can actually just drag this out to however long it needs to be. Or maybe I've decided I want it to be in the exact same spot as this keyframe, but maybe just a few inches higher. So what I can do is I could just change the Y position. I think it's Y, maybe Z. Is it Y position? 80? I'm not sure. I'm going to leave it because I really don't know the difference between Y and Z in 3D space. Because I'm always thinking of graphs, you know? X on the ground, Y in the sky. Anyways, but so that is our position keyframes. However, we don't have any time keyframes. Now, time keyframe is interesting. Think of a time keyframe as, if I put a time keyframe here, I'm saying at 0 seconds in the video, I want to be at 36 seconds in this, okay? So they link together. That's what you're saying. You're saying at 36 seconds, I want to start at 36 seconds, okay? And if we play forward a few seconds, okay? And then we pause it, and then we press, now there's two different buttons you can press. So you can press V, and that syncs them up. So this is 45 seconds, this is 0 seconds. So this is going to put us at 8 seconds, right? So 8 seconds went by, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, 8 seconds went by, I guess. And then you press Add Time Keyframe, okay? The alternative was you'd press Shift V. Now, Shift V does a different thing than V does, and I will explain that a little bit down the line, but right now I'll just do Shift V, because it's not a big deal. So I'm just saying, and it's unnecessary because I haven't moved the camera, but I'm saying from here to here, I want, when these 8 seconds pass, I want 8 seconds to pass in this, okay? So we'll play it a little bit more, and I'm talking. Now this is going a little bit slow for me. So maybe I want to speed it up, right? I want to speed up to the point where I do something. Because I know at one point I jump off the edge, right? And I say I'm going to jump off, okay? Now, if I pressed V, what that's going to do is that's going to put a keyframe here, right? And that says that 8 seconds passed. But more than 8 seconds has passed, right? But what it said, I played it at 3 times speed. So I watched that at 3 times speed for 8 seconds. So if I put a keyframe here, the difference between these two would be, this would be 3 times faster than real time. Now what I could also do is I could press Shift V, and that links them up together. So this is at real time. So really the 24 seconds have passed, or about 24, 25 seconds, whatever that is. So I could use this as both a way to speed up a clip or slow down a clip, which you'll see in a second, or alternatively, I could just use it as a way to get through a replay quicker. So we're going to delete this keyframe because it's unnecessary and add a time keyframe here, okay? And then what we're going to do is bring this back down to 1. We're actually going to play this, okay? So he jumps off. I thought he jumps off. Do I jump off? When do I jump off? I'm talking about it. Maybe I don't jump off right away. There we go. I jumped. So we'll rewind a few seconds, and we will link these two up. So you've noticed this just disappeared, right? What it really did is it just jumped over here, but to view all of it at the same time, I'm actually going to zoom out just a little bit. So we're going to move this one over, like I mentioned, we'll move it over. We'll delete this one, we'll add a time keyframe here. Because there's no reason to add multiple time keyframes. We can if we want to. It won't change anything, because we're just saying from here to here, 8 seconds has passed, from here to here, 8 seconds has passed, or whatever. But there's no reason to do that when I could just say from here to here, 16 seconds has passed, you know? It's just less keyframes to look at, you know? So I only put keyframes in when something is actually going to change. So what we'll do is we'll do this. I walk off first, and then I get back up, and then I jump. Maybe, I said slow motion, but let's do something a little bit different, okay? So let's link these together, add a time keyframe, and add a position keyframe here. So from here, and this, if you don't know how position keyframes and things like that work normally, like you've never used them before, this might not be super easy for you to understand, but you know, there's lots of resources out there for learning keyframes. So we want to move our camera from there to here, but we don't want our character to move, right? We want him to stay frozen in time. So this is what happens. So we'll say this is at 1:15. We'll say it takes 5 seconds for the camera to move that distance, right? We'll add a position keyframe here. So, but because we didn't add because we adding another time keyframe that's the same time as this one, what happens is from here to here, we're going to move around, but time isn't going to move. We do say slow motion, so let's add a little bit of slow motion. So from here to here, we want slow motion, right? So we will, we'll zoom in a little bit, and we will Shift V to link them together, and we'll add another position keyframe because the camera doesn't move, but I do want to move it after that. We'll add another time keyframe. So that played at 1 second. Now here's something. I'm actually going to delete this really quick. If we had, let's rewind it just a little bit. So we want to go to we want to go, I think to here it was. Here maybe. So say we want to go at slow motion. We could just drop it down like this. Okay? And we'll let it hit the ground. And then we will pause it. And then we will press V. Okay? So in 30 seconds, I think it was like 1 second has passed, right? So we'll add position and time keyframe. However, maybe we want it to be slower than 0.1 second. So what we can do is we can say from here, we want however many seconds passed, I think it was like 1 or 2 seconds. We actually want those 1 or 2 seconds to take like 20 seconds long, okay? So now that's super slow motion. This is like the slowest you will ever get Minecraft to ever, you know, run, ever. You can't get slower than this, you know? You can't make slow motion any better than this. So, and then from here, what we want to do is play it at normal speed. So we will bring this back up to 1 speed. We will have him jump up onto the tree. Oh, and I say fast motion too, don't I? So up onto the tree, and then we will link them together. We'll add a time keyframe because we want time to be normal there. But we actually want to be back over... Oh no, we don't want to move it yet. Actually, I've changed my mind. And this is all artist's interpretation, of course. I've decided that the entire time he's building the tree, which will be at 3 times speed, I want him to be moving. So we'll wait for him to build the tree. So yeah, those are the 2 different ways. You can do it either... The way I like to do it is, you know, move it so I can say how long do I want the 2 seconds to pass, or which I think is a little bit more accurate than I want it to be 3 times faster, you know. But again, up to artist interpretation. So we'll press V, and this is where that last keyframe is. So between here and here 3 times, it's 3 times speed, and then we'll just drop this back down to 1. But here is where I want that position keyframe, but not here, sorry, not right here. I want it to be over here, and we're moving a bit slow, so we can scroll mouse up, and then up here-ish, right? But I'm not 100% sure that's where I want it. I kind of want it to be here. That's why we made this keyframe. So we'll bring it back. So now the 2 keyframes line up, right? And then I think that might be it. After that, we just zoom into our character and I just start talking. It's very weird how you have to think about things like that. Now, say we want to check to make sure all of this looks good, right? At any point, you can just go and click play camera path, and it will play the entire video from the path of the camera, right? So this is the video we have right now, and because I didn't set a static keyframe over here, I didn't set a static keyframe. So this entire time he's moving. I might not want that. I'm not sure. Let's see how it looks. So we'll let it play through, which right now it looks a bit weird just because it looks like we're slowly like flying away from him or something. I'm not sure I want that, but I don't know how far exactly he drifts. Now what we can do, if we don't want to watch this, is we can actually toggle path preview, and we can see a path preview of where our camera is going to go. So this is this first keyframe, and then he drifts, and then the second keyframe, right? And then he makes the third keyframe over here, and then he slowly comes back. Now, because this is a pretty straight line the whole time, like there's no real curving, I might not want it to do this. Look, so if we look right down here, it actually curves between these 2 points by curving all the way out here, which maybe I don't want. I don't want that. So we can actually toggle interpolation, which means instead of it being a bicubic interpolation and making it all smooth, it's linear. So it just goes boom, and then stops, and then goes all the way over here, and then stops. It's very, very straight lines, right? So then we can play camera path from here, and the movement is very, very slow, which I kind of like. See, so now it's not backing up anymore. It's just very slowly panning around, giving it just a little bit of life, which is nice. And what we're going to do is, in a few seconds, we're going to watch and make sure that the slow motion worked well, which, is it right here? Is it right here? I'm not sure. We'll see. So this is a time keyframe, and this is a time keyframe. So these are both just the normal time, and then it stops. He moves over, and then he falls in slow motion. And maybe we watch this and we think to ourselves, wow, 20 seconds is a long time for him to be falling in slow motion. Maybe not. Maybe this is totally fine. I think this is totally fine. It's very, very slow. You're never going to get slow motion like that anywhere else. And then when the slow motion is done, normal speed, and then fast speed. And the camera slowly pans over. And maybe we want to bring the camera out a little bit, so we could actually stop it right here if we wanted to, and pan the camera out so that, or move the camera back a little bit so that we could see him chopping down the tree, which isn't super necessary, but you know, if you want to, again, up to artist interpretation. He builds a platform, and there you go. And camera path is done. We'll turn this off so we can see our face. So, and it started right where it ended. That's exactly how we wanted it. Now, maybe at some point, we want to view, and I'll just put I'll just do it over here just so it doesn't mess anything up. But maybe at some point we decide, oh, you know what we want? We want to go into our character. You know, we want to, you know, zoom into him. So what you can do is you can click Player Overview and click on the character that you want to view. And then this is it. So we can view, technically, if we wanted to, we can view the whole thing from this view, which is really boring because most of it's just standing. But I'll play just a little bit of it. So this is pretty much exactly like normal Minecraft with a few noted differences. It does have your arm So you have your arm, and anything you're holding you'll see. Because what it's really doing is it's putting that camera that we had right on the head, okay? So there's no heads-up display because you're not actually recording the view of the character. You're just putting your camera's just locked to the head of the character. So all of that stuff's rendered. And if I ever look down, I think, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think if I look down, I see my feet and everything. Do you see your feet in Minecraft? I'm not sure. All of that is rendered, so it's pretty cool. The only bummer is you don't have any sound, or certain sounds you don't have. So, grass breaking we have, but we didn't have the sound of the leaves breaking. We didn't have the sound of us walking around. Some of the animals make sounds, so it's interesting. The first person is almost exactly like real first person, but there's like a few noted differences, clearly. When you're done, you could just press shift, I think it is, left shift, right shift, to get out of that view. You just press left shift like you're writing an entity, you pop right out. And shift, down, space, up, but maybe you want to do something really cool, like roll your camera at some point. So maybe you want to have a really dramatic angle. You can roll the camera, drama, or roll it the other way, drama. So you can do some really cool things with that if you'd like. And also it's T, it's your chat button to free up your mouse. And there's a couple of other really neat things. So maybe we're down in a cave. Let's see, is there a cave right here? That's not a cave, is it? Yeah, it's a cave. So maybe this cave is a little bit too dark for us. It's not, but let's say it was. We could actually toggle lighting, and it gives us fully bright, oh, perfect, a ravine. So this ravine is completely dark, right? But if we toggle lighting, we can now see it as though we had a night vision potion on. However, it doesn't fuck with the sky, right? So that like the night vision doesn't make the sky look all weird or anything like that. It just makes everything have a light level of 15 all the time, 100%. Which is great. So you can do some, and you can fly around like in spectator mode too. So if you wanted to do like a really cool video where you just like looked at all the things under the ground and checked out the generation, you could do something like that. And I think that would be a really cool video. So we'll pop back up because that is really, my computer's struggling for that for some reason. We will turn this off. And you'll notice in that beginning when we opened up our replay, it didn't have any thumbnail to it. If you want to add a thumbnail, you could just press N, and that's the thumbnail. That's what you'll see. Now, also, let's say we'll go back to player overview really quick. If maybe we didn't want to see, we were playing multiplayer, we didn't want to see me, but we wanted to see other people. You can actually turn people off, okay? And you can turn off head plates as well, if you want to, and I will show you that a little bit down the line. But there's one point in here where I'm looking up at my head, and I'm saying, oh, look at the J above my head. Now, obviously, there's no J above my head, and I'm not talking about, I am not talking about, I think it's right here. I will try to get it to line up right here. There we go. Third time's the charm. And that's where we want to put the J. Now, obviously, I'm not talking about my jump splat head plate. I'm actually talking about my logo, which you saw already, and I haven't put in yet. So we're going to put that in right now. To do that, you can actually put stuff into the real world, sort of assets, images, things like that, without having to motion track, which is how you would do it normally. So what you can do is you can go to, not Object Manager, you can go to Asset Manager, add the asset that you're looking for. So in my case, I will go to my, oh, is that it right there? Well, I don't know why it's on the desktop, but there it is. Main splat, I will add that. That is my main splat, okay? And then I will go to my Object Manager, and I will add, and I want to add it right here, right? Here's where I want it. So I'm going to go to Object Manager. I'm going to make an object and call it floating J, right? And an object and an asset are different. So the asset is the file itself. The object, you can have multiple objects. So I could have multiple J's, and maybe one's on the ground, one's floating, one's spinning, So I'd have one called floating J, one that's called ground J, one that's called spinning J, something like that. And that way I could have multiple assets or multiple objects with the same asset. So we'll do this and we will add it, or not add it, sorry. Give me 1 second. So we'll pop right back into Object Manager. We remove that one. And here it is. So it's position in the world, its orientation, its anchor point, scale, opacity, and all of these can be keyframed as well. Now that's really, really small, obviously, okay? So what we're gonna do is we are going to go into this is the angle that we want it. So it spawns it where you are, but this is the angle that our camera's at. So we'll go back into our Object Manager, and we will actually rotate it this way 90 degrees, I think. Nope, that's not the right way. We will rotate it this way 90 degrees. No. Oh, actually, it's 180. 180 is how much we want to rotate it. We'll do 180. There we go. And then lastly, we will scale it up as well. So we'll make it 200%. You can see it up there too. So we'll make it 225, I think, on everything. So 225, 225. There you go. So now it's a bit bigger, and maybe now we want to move it down a bit. So we will go to Object, Position, and then just drop it to right there. I think that's where we want it. So it's really, really genuinely just floating in the air right now, which is crazy cool. That's so cool. You can do some really cool things with it, especially a little bit later down the line. So now, and the anchor point's right in the center of the object, but say we wanted it to rotate from the bottom of the J for some reason, we could change the anchor point as well. And lastly, opacity. So we can make it fade in and fade out, and that we actually want to animate. So we will have it be 0 from here. So yeah, I guess we can delete this one then. So from here to here, it fades in, it hangs out for a bit, and then how long do I just I stare at that J? Right about there. And then we will go and we will have it, so 110, and then at 1.8, 100%, and at 110, 0%. So it fades in, fades out. So if we watch that from here, this is what we'll see. I talk about the J because it fades in. We look up, it's there, and then it fades out again. Boom. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. So we're done, right? What do we do now? Well, first, you might want to save the keyframe preset, okay? So these are all the keyframes, right? And we're going to want to save these just in case. You know, maybe we want to come back later. So what we can do is we can save this keyframe preset as replay. Oops, not typing it. Replay. Oh, save path, and then rename it. My mistake. So we'll save it as replay mod spotlight, because what happens is when we leave and come back, the keyframes will not be there. So maybe it's a really, really big project and we want to work on it later. Or maybe we want to have multiple camera angles for the same scene. So for one scene, we want, you know, camera to be doing one thing, and for another scene, we want a camera to be doing another thing, and we can save one as a preset and save a different as a preset and hop between the two and just keep saving them so that we can compare and contrast before we finally render them. To render them, you click Render Camera Path, and you have a couple of different options. So it looks a little complicated. It's not really. You have your rendering method and your preset. Your preset pretty much always going to want to be at high. If you want to do custom bitrate and go fucking crazy, you could just go crazy, I guess. But for in most cases, high is plenty. So we'll just do high. And this is supposed to be 1,000. And it's, or I think it's like 10,000. It's not there anymore, so just putting it back. But say you wanted to do default quality, potato quality. You could even do it as a WebM if you wanted. Or an MKV file, which not very many things can play, but it's lossless, so it's absolutely flawless. Or you could even do it as PNG sequences, which is really helpful in some cases for maybe, say, if you were going to put it in After Effects anyways, you might want to output it into PNG sequences. There's a bunch of different things you can do. So we'll do MP4. Now my video resolution, for some reason, says 720 by 720. Now normally my screen is 1440 by 900, right? So that's the biggest my screen will ever record Minecraft in when I'm using VX Because my screen's not bigger than that, so the game's not playing at bigger than 1440 by 900. So there's no way for me to record at 1080p because my screen's never actually showing 1080p worth of pixels at any one time. Which is why I always output videos in 720p. So I can put this in 1280 by 720, even though that's not what my screen resolution is at right now. And that means I don't have to crop anything, and I don't have to shrink it or squish it. However, I can also put it at 1080 if I wanted to. Wow, that is not what I typed. That was weird. 1080, whatever, 1920 by... Goodness gracious, this is what I get for trying to type with one hand. So I could put this out at 1920 by 1080, and it will show me that resolution. Because I'm not actually recording the screen, it's outputting a file, it's rendering a file at 1080. So that works perfectly for me. And maybe I have a really crappy computer. I don't have a crappy computer, but let's say I did, and I wanted all of my videos to be at 60 frames a second. I could record everything using the in-game replay mod. Say I could play an entire Minecraft series like that. I could then output it at 1080 at 60 frames a second. So it would be absolutely beautiful. And the only problem would be it wouldn't have sound, but then I guess you could just add in sound later and people would never know, you know? So, I mean, maybe you have troubles doing Let's Plays, or maybe you want to do a Let's Play that's sort of cinematic and stuff. That would be really cool. I would love to watch somebody do something like that. By the way, put it in the comments. This is the one and only time I will ever let anybody advertise if you're going to make a Let's Play using the replay mod and you don't suck, then I will watch it. Because that would be, I think, really interesting to watch. I saw one person make one video of his Let's Play using the replay mod. I watched the whole thing. I'd never seen the guy before. I didn't watch any of his other videos, but I watched that one because that was super cool. So you could even go all the way up to 120 frames per second if you wanted to. I will actually still, even though I can put out in 1080, I will still drop it down to 720. And then lastly, not lastly by any means, is where you save your videos. So it actually gets saved in the .minecraft. So it's in .minecraft, and then, you know, like where you put mods in. There's also replay videos. So this is where videos you make will get put. The recordings get put in here. So if you want to just send somebody a recording, you could do that. And the downloads get put in here. So if you can download them later. I'll show you that. So, but in a second. So I'm going to put mine in videos, and I'm going to call it the replay mod replay video, because I'm also going to have a video called the replay mod video because I'm recording it, so I need to know the difference between the two, so I'll save it. There's also a couple of different ways we could render. We could also render in stereoscopic, which is side by side, so that lets you see it in 3D, and it that's pretty cool. It gives you some depth. You can also output into a cubic format, which is essentially it's a format that looks like a cube, and you can use it for 360-degree video players. And then lastly, you can also do equirectangular projection. Now this is the one, if you wanted to use YouTube's 360-degree video function, this is the one that you would use. I actually have tried it out a little bit. I tried it on the laptop, so it took me a billion years to get it to work, but it worked. And so what you do is you would, if you wanted to make something for YouTube, you would select this, you change the video resolution, which I'm not going to do, and then you would go into advanced settings and click inject 360 data. So that way your video would be 360 degrees. You don't have to go through the complicated process of doing that elsewhere. Also, here's that render name tag. So if I didn't want the jump splat above my name to be rendered, here's where I would do that. So it's, you know, it's up to you to decide how you do that. I think it's really neat because in normal Minecraft, when you have a second person recording, to turn his HUD off, you have to press F1 or whatever. But that also turns other people's nameplates off. So if you don't want a HUD, but you still want nameplates, you can do that. So maybe you're building with lots of people, you want lots of people names to be showing up in the video. That's how you could do it. And then also, say you don't like the sky. Maybe you wanted to add your own custom sky. You could actually just chroma key the sky. You could add a chroma key for the sky. So you can make it whatever color you want, and then just select the chroma key option, and the sky color would be solid green, and you could just mask it out. Obviously, I wouldn't pick green because there's already green here, and there's green on my arms, so that wouldn't work very well. But I would maybe pick like a blue color, which actually the reason why you would use this versus just trying to chroma out this blue is because you'll see off in the distance, the fog changes the color. So this means that the sky would be a solid this color the whole time. Now, if you were doing a 360 video, you could also stabilize the video, yaw, pitch, and roll, just in case you ever did do any of those. So that way it wouldn't make somebody sick while they were watching the video. Advanced command line options if you're that kind of person. And then lastly, you have ODS, which is like stereoscopic and 360, which is VR video, and this is really cool. Adds sort of depth to things. It's awesome. So once you're done, you click render. If you don't have FFmpeg, it's going to tell you this. I do have FFmpeg, so I need to fix this, obviously. I think I've installed it wrong. But this is what will show up if you don't have it. If you don't have it, you can just go to that link, install it, and then restart Minecraft, and then come back. Now, if you need to do that, make sure that you save your presets, because when you come back to try to render it later, it won't let you. So it'll just render the video, it'll have a preview and a loading bar. When you're done, you can do whatever you want with it, throw it in an NLE editor and stick it into your video however you'd like. There's also a couple more things for this mod. It's a very amazing mod. Has amazing amount of shit that you can do. You can go into the replay editor, so you can actually trim videos together. So it's a little basic, but maybe you want to connect two of your replays together. So here's our thumbnail, you see. Maybe we want to connect two of our replays together. We want to do a little bit of this and then connect it to this one. What you can actually do is go into the replay editor, select a video, figure out where you want to start and end it, and then trim it. And then you can connect it to another one. So, you could have, it's instead of having to render it out and then stick them into maybe Sony Vegas or Premiere or however, this is a way of doing it inside Minecraft. And last but not least is the replay center. So if you want, you can go and upload videos of your own. So if we go to our replay viewer, there's actually a upload button here, okay? So if I click upload, I can actually upload my video. So I will call this Matthew's replay, and there's none of that. So Matthew jump splat 120 replay spotlight. Oh, I can't fit the T in. Damn it. Jump splat 120 replay spotlight. Okay? Category, and I will say miscellaneous. And then if I wanted to if I really wanted people to find it, I could add some tags. So spotlight, replay. It said separated by commas, right? That's what it said. I'm not crazy. Tag separated by comma. Whatever. Replay. Oh, and no space though. Spotlight. Minecraft. Jump splat 120. Not very many tags can be put in, but a couple tags. So jump splat. Don't know how to spell my own name apparently. And then upload file. So this is where we could actually put a description for it. So we could say,
this is the what do you call it? This is the video. This is the replay that I use for. Whoops. This is the replay that. This is the replay that I use for my replay mod spotlight video. I am uploading it as a example on how to upload videos.
Jump splat 120. When I'm done, I just click start upload. An unknown error occurred. I have no idea why. Possibly my internet, because my internet has been very fucky recently. But assuming that had worked, I would then go into the replay center, and it would be, oh, it did work. Okay, so I don't know why it said there was an error. It totally worked. And so that's my video. So I could then download that or any other video of anybody else. So if I go to the best videos, I know that there is one called the Minathon opening ceremony. So if I click, or the Turbo Kart Racers High Pixel GP by Crush Pixel, that's the guy who made the mod. And he actually made a 360 video of this. So if you guys want to go check that out, that will be in the description below. So you can see how a 360 video could be really, really cool. I suggest watching it on your phone because then you can do the whole moving the camera around, or maybe with Google Cardboard if you have that. But we'll actually do the Minathon opening ceremony. So I'll download it and show you how that works. So it says, please wait while it's being downloaded. Note, I don't have the world. I've never been on this server before. I was never at the opening ceremony. But say I wanted to be at the opening ceremony, this is how I could view it. Once it's done, it pops open, and you get a little bit of lag as everything loads in. And there you go. And so whoever recorded clearly popped in right at this point. And there you go. So this is playing in real time. And we could just fly on over. And this is the replay editor too, as well. So if you wanted to, you could, and as you can see all these like hidden, what do you call them? Armor stands that really aren't supposed to be there. But yeah, so then we could maybe fly over here. And so say we wanted to watch the replay like really close, like super close, like right here. We could do that. Maybe we want to watch it from over here, you know? Maybe we want to see who's online. So we could click this, we could check player overview. Let's see who's online. I think Sarge is online. Minathon. All sorts of people. Yep, Sarge right there. So you can just sort of see who's here, who's not. As more people jump into the server, more and more names will show up on the list. So let's skip forward a little bit to the point where something happens, which is, I think, right here. I mean, that's pretty fucking cool, right? That's cool. That's awesome. And I was never here, but, you know, this is something that you can see and check it out. It's pretty cool. So, I will pause that. I'm actually going to... the note block's going to be playing, though. But I am going to be muting that because I don't want to get flagged for copyright. But that's really cool. And so, maybe you wanted to make a sort of a cinematic view of Minathon, or maybe you want to make a 360 video Minathon. You know, pop yourself right down here. Oh, hey Sarge, I see you floating there invisibly. So you could just pop right here. You know, add your keyframes just like you would normally. Render it out. It would be an actual video you could watch. So that's, you know, another way you could do it. Because maybe it's just a little bit too laggy with all the particle effects and everything for you. You know, you could render it out. It'll be perfect, and then you could just exit. And there you go. So that is pretty much everything in the replay mod. I don't know if I went over absolutely everything, but I think that was pretty much all of it. So you can do lonely mode, social mode, what the fuck? Real mind mode. Anyways, that is everything. So it's some crazy cool versatility. You can do all sorts of shit in it. And I really highly suggest going and checking it out. I really want to see more videos used with this. I know this guy made an entire movie in Minecraft, and he did not use the replay mod. And the entire time I could only think to myself, dude, if you had that mod, if you had the replay mod, man. And I know this has its own options, or its own usages, and there may be some times where you want just a secondary character floating around recording. For whatever reason, there might be a time where you want that. But in most cases, in 99% of those cases, you can just do this all in the replay mod. And that makes it, I think that just makes it the coolest thing in the world. So, I'd like to thank you for watching. Comment, like, subscribe. Don't rate. That's not a thing. Don't rate. Just comment, like, subscribe. And I will see you later, YouTube.